Hey folks, Nitno here. Today we're going over a beginner guide to Rust. The goal of this video is to give you a solid understanding on how to get started as a new player. I'll try to break it down as simple as possible and clearly explain all you need to know. Picking a server. Picking the right server can drastically change your first impression of the game. First, let's go down to the filters, scroll down, and select your closest region to you for the best ping. Now, there are three main options for servers. There's official, community, and modded. Official is vanilla and unchanged, the way the developers intended the game to play. One typical complaint is the lack of moderation on these servers. That leads me over to community. In community, you are more likely to have an active admin that can personally handle situations firsthand. These servers often specify the max group size, such as solo, duo, and trio, as well as having adjusted item drop rates. Then there's modded, which will often be a much different experience, where you can often find things such as starter kits, highly boosted drop rates, and other big changes to the game. Keep in mind, servers typically have a scheduled wipe. The more recent the wipe, the more likely you'll find other fresh players. Lastly, we have player pop. As a new player, I'd suggest picking a server that's medium to low pop to give you some breathing room while you're learning the game. So as a beginner, I'd actually suggest picking a low to medium pop community server that is close to your real life location, maybe with a slightly boosted gathering rate. Getting started with the game. Having spawned into the server, we can now check out our toolbar and see that we have a rock and a torch. The rock is used to gather resources. You can go up to a tree with your rock equipped and hit it to gain resources. Hitting the red X will give you more resources per hit. The same can be said for farming ore. Aim for the shiny part, and it will make farming faster. You can speed up your farming by crafting a stone hatchet or a stone pickaxe. Each of these tools will require 200 wood and 100 stone. The torch is used to give you light when darkness sets in. It can be quite dark in Rust, so it is a good tool to keep around. Sleeping bags. You'll want to keep your eye out for hemp that looks like this. Harvesting hemp will allow you to collect cloth. After harvesting 30 cloth, you'll have enough to craft a sleeping bag. Sleeping bags can be used as respawn points, so if you do die, you can easily get back to your body by selecting a nearby sleeping bag. Managing health, water, and food. There are three main meters to manage. Health. One of the easiest ways to refill your health is by eating food such as mushrooms and berries. You can also craft bandages with cloth, which will instantly restore health. Next up we have water. You can drink clean water from rivers that you can see on the map. Lastly, we have food. We did touch on food with mushrooms earlier, but you can also find pumpkins growing by the riverside. Another great source of food and water are these food crates often found by roadsides. Crafting weapons and armor. Now that we have some of the basics down, let's craft some armor and weapons. As for armor, once again collect hemp and turn it into cloth. You can use the cloth to craft burlap clothing, which, if you check the tooltip, it will give you protection against projectiles, melee, and even cold weather. Crafting a set of armor will help you feel a lot less squishy. As for weapons, one of the better freshy weapons to start is the spear. It can be crafted with 300 wood. It has good range and deals a solid chunk of damage with headshots. Craft a bow with 200 wood and 50 cloth. Then craft wooden arrows with 25 wood and 10 stone. With armor, a spear, and a bow, you'll have a solid foundation to master Freshie Life. Now it's time to explore making a base. Making a base. First, we have to pick a spot. A few things to keep in mind when picking a spot for a base. You'll want to be within proximity to some tier 1 monuments, as these will be your initial farming locations. These locations do attract a lot of player activity, so try to find somewhere slightly off the beaten path. Let's go over some tips for building that base. Base building is worthy of a whole nother video, but let's cover the basics. There are 3 main things you'll absolutely need to build: an airlock, a tool cupboard, and a way to lock your base. An airlock is building in such a way that you have 2 doors and can lock one behind you before you access the next door. Why do you need 2 doors? Well, if you only have 1 door, a player can camp your building and kill you while that 1 door is open, and then they can walk right into your base. An airlock protects you from that situation. To secure your base, you'll want to make at least 3 locks. 1 for the TC, which is your tool cupboard, and 2 for the airlock doors. You can craft your locks with 100 wood each. In the future, you can upgrade your locks to a code lock using 100 metal fragments. Next, you'll need a tool cupboard. The tool cupboard will cost 1000 wood to make, and it will stop your base from decaying, stop players from building near your base, and provide some extra storage. Next up, we will want to make a furnace and a workbench. A furnace can be made with 100 wood, 200 stone, and 50 low-grade fuel. Low-grade fuel can be found in barrels on the side of the road and in monuments. You can also kill animals and obtain fat. 3 fat combined with 1 cloth will also give you low-grade fuel. The furnace will allow you to smelt metal ore into metal fragments, amongst other crafts. Now, workbenches can be made with 500 wood, 100 metal fragments obtained by smelting metal ore or by recycling objects made of metal, and 50 scrap obtained from barrels and crates, as well as recycling metal components. Completing the workbench unlocks the tech tree. It's a whole lot to look into here. Basically, you can pick a path and unlock things in that tech tree with scrap. Now that we've got armor, weapons, and a base, it's time to get to the main gameplay loop and venture out. Let's check out the safe zone and some monuments. Let's start with the safe zone. There are safe zones in Rust, and it's a good idea to get familiar with them. Safe zones include the outpost, bandit camp, fishing village, and ranch. Here you are protected from PvP, and it can be a good place to trade, meet up with friends, recycle scrap, and buy items out of the vending machines. At the ranch, you'll even be able to buy a horse, which is a little expensive at first, but it is a nice early game way to get around the map a little faster. Now let's get to the core of the gameplay loop. This is checking out the monuments. Monuments at Tier 1 areas will have a green keycard. Tier 1 monuments include lighthouse, supermarkets, abandoned cabins, gas stations, warehouses, and more. These can be found on the map. The green keycard found at these locations can then be used to solve puzzles at the next tier of monuments, such as the harbor, sewer branch, satellite dish, train yard, dome, and more. To complete puzzles at these locations, you'll need your green keycard and an electric fuse, commonly found in loot crates. The basics of these puzzles is you'll need to find these sparking fuse boxes, hit E, and place in your electric fuse. Then flip the nearby switch. Following the electric wire should lead you to the end of the puzzle. Here, you'll find a keycard reader glowing with the appropriate color, in this case green for the green keycard. Place your green card in hand and click to swipe it. Inside, you'll find crates to loot and also the next tier of keycards, in this case, the blue keycard. This blue keycard will allow you to run the next tier of monuments, and in those monuments, you'll find the red keycard. This is the major gameplay loop in gearing up to higher tiers in Rust. Alright, if you found this video helpful, subscribe to the channel and snipe the like button. Thank you and have an awesome day. Peace.